If you can't measure something, it makes it very difficult to improve upon it. And you've created a system, a marketing platform that helps to measure, which then, of course, helps people to convert, which in most cases with videos is there's some sort of conversion. Tell me how the analytic side works, because there's so many trillions of variables involved in analyzing why a video will convert or not.
Yeah, so like Vidalytics is a video hosting tool, kind of like a Vimeo or a Wistia that goes on your website. So for those videos, we're tracking a lot of data on them. So, and one of the most important things that we track, and we're the only video player that does this, is where somebody buys in your video. Because if somebody stops watching your video, if they bounce, that's not necessarily a bad thing if they're going to your shopping cart and checking out or opting in, whatever the next action is. So we track that. We track obviously audience engagement, skips, rewinds, but then we can also slice and dice this data along traffic sources, different devices, if they watched the video before or not. And then we have dozens of features on the player side of things that allow for grabbing attention, keeping that attention, having call to actions, collecting leads, things like that, that you can then kind of incorporate once you're kind of understanding what's happening inside of your video.
I would just love to know if you can give 3 top factors that you say make a video really successful. And of course, I know that there are an eon of factors, but if you can just say someone's starting out, they want to put a video on their website and they want people to buy from that video, what would you say are 3 most important factors that they should have?
We specialize in long form videos. That's what the majority of videos on Vidalytics are, but it really doesn't matter because at the end of the day, it's going to be about the message market match. So are you saying the right thing to the right person at the right time? And you're going to be able to identify that in what we call the lead. So this is point 2. So the very beginning of the video, and that can be the first 10 seconds. It can be the first few minutes, depending on the overall length of the thing. And if you're bleeding out there too much, then nobody's going to get to the meat and potatoes of your message. And this is even true on Instagram Reels, where it's like the hook, and are you just retaining people right there? And then the final thing would just be having a call to action. So basically, where are you driving those people to? Because at the end of the day, it's not about just like entertaining people or engaging them. You want to drive them towards something meaningful.
I think this is incredibly valuable. I think that as a service, one of the things that for every entrepreneur that we're challenged with is that the market's constantly changing. The trends are constantly changing. And you mentioned long form content. And I think that's something that's incredibly intimidating to most entrepreneurs. I mean, short form is fairly easy for us, you can do selfie style, but then you're like, listen, let's do some long form content. And I hear tons of excuses from people why they don't want to do long form content. But at a deeper level, I think that, look, if I'm going to invest time into creating long form content that literally no one is going to watch, it ends up becoming a financial drain and a time resource drain on me. When it comes to long form content, Patrick, what are some of the main things that we need to keep in mind, and specifically probably the counterintuitive things, the things that have evolved in recent times that we need to make sure that we're incorporating in our long form content?
Yeah, sure. So I actually have a lot of fun data to talk about on this one because we have 178,000 videos on Vidalytics that have sold an estimated $3 billion. And that 3 billion is a big number, but actually when you think about it, like on a per video basis, it's not that many, And, some of these businesses are able to scale with just one single kind of video funnel, like a long form video. And I'd say that's probably about above 10 minutes. So I'll throw out one fun stat that just blew my mind when we realized this. Of the people making it to the end of a video, it's 3% on average. But that 3% of the audience accounts for 47% of all conversions that are happening. So it's this little hinge that swings a big door. And people are like, who's going to watch all this? And, I used to hear this 15 years ago when I had like a long landing page. And this is how I wound up to be, running Vidalytics. But people are like, nobody's going to read all this. And it's like, that's not true. Not a lot of people are going to read it, but the people who have this problem that want to solve it are going to engage with it. And that goes back to what I was saying, the right message for the right person. So if somebody's getting into content, I think it's just really one of the easiest things to do. Like in a video funnel, it's just like, who's your ideal prospect, like your ideal avatar, like they're sitting across the table from you, and just talk to them and basically, kind of pitch to them in the order of objections that they're going to have. So first they're going to say like, who are you? What is this? Why should I listen? This sounds like something else. Like I've tried this before. How do I know it works? Like, is this scientifically proven? and they're going to kind of go through that type of order things. They're not going to start to be like, what's the price? Or something like that. They're not going to ask who else has tried this when they don't even know what it is. So it's like putting things in that order can just be a really kind of easy way to kind of focus the message. So then you're basically grabbing attention, building rapport, having clear benefits, removing objections, and having a call to action.
It's all about the message,
Yep.
alignment
Amen.
with the market,
It
and
is.
the match of it. And we need experts like Patrick Stiles. Check it out, Vidalytics.com. If you want to figure out how best to utilize and convert your content, long form or short term form videos